A lot of these people have basically been living rent-free. They've been living rent-free. They have not been required to send one rent payment, and instead of them paying off bills, instead of them actually continuing to pay their rent and doing the right thing, because remember, the landlords still got to make sure that they pay the mortgage. The banks don't care that your renters ain't paying what it is that they supposed to pay. And it's a lot of lessons that come along with this. You know, it's people say all the time, Anton, would you ever invest in real estate out of state? No, because I don't understand the laws out of state. I don't understand the terrain, the climate. I don't know what neighborhoods is what the neighborhoods are. I invest in things that I know. The people that's a part of the bag chasers, if you're not a part of the Patreon, the best day to join the Patreon is the beginning of the month. They know that I preach, I teach, and I advocate for only investing in spaces and places that you truly understand. And that goes for real estate, it goes for stocks, it goes for everything. If you don't understand it, wait until you do, and wait until you immerse yourself in it to truly understand what's going on within it. But I do not advocate for people to invest in anything that they do not truly understand. But over in a lot of these places, the rent moratorium, especially in these liberal spaces, is starting to expire.
A major deadline is looming for some renters in Los Angeles. The city's COVID-era eviction protection ends tomorrow, and those protections covered rent owed between October 1st, 2021, and now. There were also provisions for rent increase.
October 1st, 2021. Let's put that in perspective. It's 2024. From 2021 to 2024, basically these people didn't have to pay no rent because they was protected by the federal government. So you've been living for free. The whole time you've been basically living for free.
Increases in units under the city's rent stabilization program, but the city still has strong protections and there can be no evictions without cause. And as KCAL's Rachel Kim shows us, there are many programs to help renters.
I'm kind of like paranoid a little bit to what I'm going to do.
73-year-old Bernie Arauz came to the Los Angeles Housing Development Office looking for help because for the first time in almost 23 years, he's afraid he won't have a place to live.
Because I'm kind of late on my payment and I'm trying to find out, I just found out that the owner's going to, it's in the price of selling the property.
Arauz now has
It's the reason why these owners are getting out of these properties, because they basically losing a shirt because they're not making the money that they were supposed to make because they couldn't predict that the pandemic was going to come, and then as a result you would be subjected to the fact that these people wasn't paying their rent. And so when they say I'm a little bit behind on my payment, that could literally be 2.5 years worth of payments. Now you're supposed to be basically paying the back pay when the moratorium finally expires. Or you can be evicted, or you're supposed to be evicted. You were supposed to be evicted a long time ago. But again, because you have protections from the federal government that did not advocate for business, but they advocated for people doing what they wanted to do, these people ultimately never ever saved up. They never paid off their student loans. They never paid off their rent. They never caught up. They never saved the money. They never invested. They didn't do anything with it. They just thought that they was going to live rent-free for the rest of their life.
120 days to move out of his 10-unit Boyle Heights apartment building he's been paying hundreds in rent for through the COVID pandemic. He's been unemployed after a major car accident and has been staying with his mother, who recently passed away. Well, now he says he can't afford rent anywhere else.
And that's why I'm here, and I'm trying to, ask him, what my options are, or maybe go talk to an attorney and find out my rights.
Arauz is relieved to hear that the city is providing renters resources to prevent people from falling into homelessness. He's counting on the city for relocation assistance and help with the rent once he finds a place.
I've never heard of this in my entire life. I've always been told that if you don't pay, you don't eat. If you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't pay the rent, then you got to get out. That is just the very basics. I mean, for me, it's always been black and white. I don't get this whole what's my rights thing. That's confusing to me. I've always been confused about this whole rights thing that we got going on out here in these streets. I don't understand that. But another thing that people are not considering is that over in California, they basically got new taxes, especially to estates that's supposed to be helping with these social services. So basically, more people are paying more in taxes in order for them to be able to pay the rent to the people that don't pay their rent. especially over in California, even though California is operating at a deficit because these same people are basically leaving the state because they don't want to be overtaxed to death in order to support other people that's not working for whatever reason, because there's some people that take advantage of the system and some people that's supposed to be leveraging the system to get back on their feet, but they're not forever supposed to be on social services. Basically, these people feel like they got rights now because you have rights to be able to have housing. Now, it was a point in time where if you didn't build housing or you didn't make sure that you stake your claim and you didn't take care of your business, then you just didn't have anywhere to live and you had to figure it out and you eat what you kill. Now, everybody got rights. You got rights to health care. You can be a migrant. Migrants get free health care over in California now. You got rights to housing. You got rights to everything. Everybody is talking about their rights, but ain't nobody actually paying nothing.
And it's going to be $2,500 a month. It's going to be plus bills. That's what makes you go homeless.
All residential units in Los Angeles now officially have what's called just cause protections. That means a landlord cannot evict a tenant without declaring a legal reason for eviction. The Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles says these protections are extreme and are hurting rental property owners.
With the extreme inflation we've had these past 4 years, coupled with no rent increases, coupled with being handcuffed on our ability to collect legally owed rent. So we are starting to hear from members who are facing foreclosure today.
And that's the part that people also don't take into consideration, is because people say, oh, you got right to housing. But what about me still having to make my mortgage payment to the bank for this property that I own, that this rent that I can't collect, and nobody cares about me? Nobody cares about the actual owners of the properties. The only thing that we saying is you're supposed to continue to support people that ain't paying their rent. It's no balance here. For some reason, y'all think that all of these people are rich. They not. They trying to get from under this because they can't control whether or not they're going to get payments from people that's taking up residence in their property, and they tearing up the property. And you getting wear and tear, and you still got to be able to maintain it. And if they call for something, you got to go in there. Come on, man, this is a bad deal. Anybody that's investing in anything over in California, you a fool. Anybody that's investing for anything that's happening over in California, you are a fool. I mean, you a whole fool, not a half fool, a whole fool.
Euchelson tells us 80% of their rental property owners are small families who typically provide the affordable housing. He says many of these families can't afford to stay in business today.
They're leaving and they're selling these buildings, and these properties are being redeveloped today. And as a result, it's just creating more shortages in housing.
Bernie Arauz is trying to stay optimistic.
So I'm going to run out pretty soon. So I'm going to have problems.
Rachel Kim, KCAL News.
Federal Reserve today left its key interest rate unchanged for the fourth straight meeting. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said it's unlikely the central bank will begin cutting rates at its next meeting in March. That sent stocks tumbling, including the Nasdaq, which fell more than 2%. While inflation has cooled over the past year, prices are still too high for many Americans. In tonight's Money Watch, CBS's Nancy Chen takes a look at the skyrocketing cost of rent.
Matt Wheeler was looking forward to finally getting a place of his own when he started searching for an apartment in Providence, Rhode Island.
What was your reaction?
Disappointment. I sort of felt like I was working to a point when living by myself was going to be financially within reach, and then to sort of find that it was going to continue to be a budget stretch.
Even with a position at prestigious Brown University, the 33-year-old ended up settling for a studio apartment.
To be in my 30s, working a professional job and have the ability to afford a one-bedroom apartment doesn't feel like I'm begging for like largesse here, and yet it also feels so unattainable.
While rent has been easing for the past few months nationwide, prices are still up roughly 24% since before the pandemic, in part because of inflation. Driven by...
It's funny that you say that, Yakar. Yakar says the feds are conducting class warfare and people better wake up. How long have I been saying this? Every single person that you see that show up that's complaining about it, they're not even black. How long have I been telling y'all? How long have I been advocating for? And how long have I been preaching? Hey, y'all better prepare yourself. Make sure that you get yourself together. Make sure that y'all take care of business. This is a class war. Middle class is going away. It's only going to be rich and poor. Make sure that you lower your lifestyle. Prepare for what's can happen. invest in assets, put yourself in a position to be able to take advantage of when other people is under duress. I've been having this conversation for years and years, and people argued me down. I mean, they argued me down to the ground. Anton, you don't know what you talking about. You off. We always gonna be able to afford it on a $40,000 to $50,000 a year monthly income, or I'm sorry, a yearly income, and I'm still not gonna have to have my chick work as a result of it, and it's really just systematic in black racism. I said, bro, I'm telling you, I'm warning you, I'm warning you. Listen. It is a class war. It is not a race war. It is not a gender war. It is a class war. You are going to be at the bottom of the totem pole if you don't make adjustments now. Lower your lifestyle. I know you laughing at me having multiple streams of income. I know you laughing at me making sure that I got a second job. I know you laughing at you think it's funny, you think it's cute. And I'm going to buy everything. As you lose it, I'm going to be sitting there picking it up on pennies on a dollar. As you lose, listen, I can't wait for the Oakland County auction and the Wayne County auction and the Macomb County auction. I am going to be so overloaded with money and assets that I can leverage to buy up every single thing that you lose. Every time you lose, I win. Every time you lose, we over the bag chasers win because we preparing ourselves. We putting ourselves in a position to take advantage of what it is that you not doing. Every single time that you lose, I win. And then they start getting jealous. You brag too much. You in for a downfall. When? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? Why would you pray on my downfall? I warned you. You could have been in the same position as me.
Remote work. Providence has seen one of the highest rent increases in the country. Here, you need a salary of nearly $83,000 to afford a two-bedroom apartment.
Has it ever been this bad?
Not that I can remember.
State Representative Cherie Cruz calls it a crisis.
I'm used to seeing it with people working class poor, but now we're watching it go into...
Look at HI, still running in there's still a race war. Where? Who? Maybe they just let me and a few other 100 millionaires, 1,700 millionaires every day, a lot of them is black, slip through the cracks. How is it a race war when the majority of the people that's getting evicted is not even black? It's whites. How is it a race war when the majority of the people that have the highest household income is Indian and Asian and Pakistani? How? When they letting every single person inside of the country that want to come here and do whatever it is that they want to do when they want to do it. What are you... Boy, listen. Y'all keep running in the Victim Olympics if you want to. I went and picked up 2 new Rolexes yesterday. It's a recession out here in these streets.
Middle class and even upper middle class.
Wheeler, meantime, has readjusted his sights.
If I hit that home milestone closer to 40 when, I thought I'd be hitting it closer to 30, it's still a win.
Moving in and moving goals. Nancy Chen, CBS News, Providence.
Listen. I'm going to tell y'all this. It's nobody ever in the world, nobody, not one person on the face of this earth that could stop you from doing the right thing.